Welcome to Ichi Studios Convention Hopper here for ConBravo 2016. Another year in Hamilton, another day with my man Brentalfloss. How you doing?
Pretty good, how are you?
All right, how's the con been so far?
There hasn't been much of it yet, so we'll see.
All right.
So far, so good.
Okay, so it's been a while since we've last talked. Tell me about what you've been up to lately.
Well, most of my news from the last time we talked involves a game I'm developing called Use Your Words. It's a party game, and I'm currently Toronto-based with a team there completing the game. We kickstarted it earlier this year. Successfully. That's the good news.
I donated a pledge to that, so
thank you. Yeah, I think now that I think about it, I remember your name on the list. There's like 1,100, so that's good. Yay!
Yay.
But yeah, so there's still Brentalfloss videos in the works. That's kind of, frankly, backburnered at this moment because it just became clear that doing this game full time really, it's like full time plus because it kind of never sleeps, you know.
Yeah.
So the Brentalfloss videos really couldn't compete in a 40 hours a week kind of way. But there's still some things in the works, and yeah, the game's coming out later this year.
All right. So speaking about some of your recent videos, one of the ones that came out that I think is getting the most attention would be your Undertale musical.
Currently, yes.
I enjoyed that.
Thank you.
First of all, so since you obviously had to play Undertale to make that video, tell us about your experience playing the game.
Well, the thing about playing Undertale is I wish that I hadn't been playing a research run. Because for me, if I'm playing through a game fast to get information about it, in order to make the fans happy, the irony sometimes is that I'm not actually fully absorbing it because I'm trying to get through it. And because of that, and also it was very early in Undertale, it hadn't been out long. So there wasn't a culture of pacifist run versus, so I played it like I play any old RPG, and I didn't fully appreciate the conversation stuff. Once I beat it and found out all the different endings, all the different things you could do, I went back and I basically got about an hour in and realized, I could play this for pleasure, but I really need to make the video. That said, I've enjoyed it almost as much from the culture around it, and videos and remixes and all sorts of stuff like that, just as much as I did the game itself. But I do plan to go back at some point and experiment with something closer to a pacifist run, as opposed to my extremely bloodthirsty, not quite genocide, but close.
Yeah. So you have yet to do all three endings.
Correct.
Okay. So you're planning to do all the rest of them?
Possibly.
Cool.
It's funny how little video games you're able to play when you're making one.
Yeah.
But
I understand that. I'm actually in the middle of making a game myself.
So you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Undertale is definitely one of those games like Overwatch and Pokemon Go where the fandom is just as much fun as the game itself.
Absolutely. Sure.
And Temmie is from one of the artists from Undertale is actually here this weekend as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Did not know that.
She's in the artist alley. I stopped by and say hi to her.
Cool. I may do the same.
Excellent. With regards to your upcoming game, Use Your Words, tell us a little bit about how/why you came up with the idea.
Well, two things. Number one, I've played party games my whole life. It's very much in the culture of a little bit my family, but also my best friend's family is kind of like my own. His name is Matt. His extended family, they play party games like it's their job. Taboo and Pictionary and a couple games that you might not have heard of. One's called Quip It. And Quip It was this very flawed DVD game where you get to write funny answers to prompts. Most of the prompts were bad. You end up skipping a lot of them. It's very clunky because it's on DVD. But I always loved that game and thought, I see the problems with this game. This was 2004, by the way. I was like, I see the problems with this game. I wish I could make something better. But when I was in high school, that was not an option. I guess, to be fair, I was in college. But it wasn't like I could just go make a game. I had no idea how. And so I kept that little nugget in the back of my head. And I'd play games like the New Yorker cartoon caption game and Balderdash. Other games where you're writing your own answers, so it all kind of comes down to your creativity. And then early 2015, I played the Jackbox Party Pack, and I realized, okay, you can have a game where you're playing on the TV, but we have the seamlessness of wireless devices. And I know how to make this game now. I cooked the idea for a few weeks, thinking, I don't know, am I ready to, do I want to make this a real thing? And then I got really drunk. And
that's how the best ideas start.
Yes, and the thing is, I didn't actually write anything down while drunk. I woke up at like 3:30 in the morning, one of those you've gone to bed too early and you're waking up strangely with tons of energy in the middle of the night. And I just kind of had a eureka moment, and I wrote 3 or 4 pages of game design information that set the basis of the game. Then I spent that weekend making a Final Cut video where I simulated what the game would look like to play and shopped it around to some friends of mine. And then I showed my friend Julian Spillane, who's a veteran game dev based out of Toronto. And he's, I've pitched game ideas to him before, and he'll say, "That's cute, but that'll cost you $5 million. You've never made a game before." And this one, he was like, "Not only is this a good idea, but we can make this." And I kind of went, "Oh, let's do that then."
Okay.
So that's, at its heart, it takes what's fun about a game like Cards Against Humanity, but allows your own style to permeate instead of just your style of picking the best card. It can be about your brain, your sense of humor. The slogan is a game for funny people and their unfunny friends, and so a lot of the work of developing it is making it a game for the unfunnies, because it needs to be fun if you get dragged along. It needs to be fun if you don't think that you have the best sense of humor. So we're trying to create a game that makes it fun and easy to be funnier than you knew you could. And a lot of that is writing the prompts in such a way that anyone can answer them. Just like Cards Against Humanity, the anonymity of writing your answer, and the fact that no one, if you don't get any votes for somebody thinking that yours is the best one, then nobody finds out who you were. So it's kind of a game that's just as much, at least on the developer side, about subtly bolstering the confidence of every player so that everybody feels more comfortable to just play the game, which is a weird thing to say, but it's kind of like dancing. If you ask somebody to just dance, sometimes they get very anxious and they feel like people are watching them be bad at it. Same thing happens when you tell somebody to be funny. So the goal is to create a game where the player quickly forgets that they're being called upon to do anything that requires any skill, and they're just enjoying their own sense of humor, of which everyone has one. So
yeah. So what you were saying a second ago is the only person whose name gets revealed is the one who gets the win, and everyone else remains anonymous?
Correct. So
that's an interesting mechanic.
Yeah, our idea there is that if you write something that you think might be too offensive, or that you're just not sure if it's funny or not, if somebody votes for it, well, then they're corroborating your humor.
Yeah, then they're okay with it.
Right, and if they don't, fine, but you don't have to sort of suffer the small but sometimes significant humiliation of like your name getting no points.
I completely understand.
Yeah.
So given that people who are going to be playing your game will probably most likely compare it to games like Jackbox, what would you say to people who have played Jackbox to sell it to them?
Well, the thing about the Jackbox games is clearly we are inspired by the technology that they used, and so it's not so much about saying like, hey, what we're doing is better, screw that other thing. To me, I feel like what we're doing is the next evolution. Fibbage is a great game. Fibbage is the game that actually showed me you could do this kind of thing, but Fibbage at its heart is just taking Balderdash and making it seamless. Write the best lie, make everybody believe your lie, and if you can, you win. And you can also be funny along the way. So as far as pitching our game, I feel like getting together and having a laugh with your friends, or having a laugh with people you don't know, is great, but it's hard to artificialize the right conditions for that. And so our game works as an icebreaker, it works as letting out your inner class clown, but ultimately what we're trying to make is a game that if you play this game, you're going to laugh. And unlike a Cards Against Humanity, it's not just because of the card you happen to pick. Your sense of humor comes into play, and there's also an element of strategy. You can choose to punt, which is going to assign you an answer you didn't write, and then you can ride that to victory or defeat. And if somebody chooses your answer, they lose points. So you can balance out strategy with creativity if you can't think of anything. But ultimately, we're trying to take what was great about the Jackbox games and go even further and make a more fun experience that has a little bit more stuff to do than, say, Quiplash. Other ways to be funny, writing your own subtitle for a film clip, writing your own headline for a newspaper image, stuff like that. So, yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Okay, and last question. Seeing as it's kind of a global phenomenon at this point, I would be remiss if I didn't bring up Pokemon Go and what your thoughts are on it.
Well, the thing is, I've been in Canada since it's been out, so I had to wait until it was available here, and then I only had a few days left on a data plan that I no longer have, so I got to play it for about 3 days. What I think is great about it is that it's getting people out of the house, getting people to walk around and explore their own communities. It's creating communities within communities. It's like, talk about icebreaker. People are now coming together in a way that that they otherwise wouldn't out in the world. And in a time where people say, oh, gamers, they just sit on the couch, blah, blah, blah. Well, like now you're out in the world, you're experiencing it. And I think the community aspect, the exercise aspect are both nothing short of a revolution in gaming. I hope there's more stuff like this coming down the pipe.
Oh yeah, the developers have already said that the game is only about 10% done, so there's more coming.
Cool.
Anyways, excellent. Just one last question. I was just wondering if you would add me on Miitomo.
I have de-added Miitomo from my phone.
Damn.
How long have you guys had Miitomo up here?
Not shortly before. I think it came out at the same time for everyone. I think.
Oh, really?
I don't know why there would be a gap in this release. I think it was the same time.
If I still had Miitomo, I would add you in a heartbeat. But yeah, I'm not playing it anymore.
I pretty much just have it just to dress up my me in costumes.
Oh, it's fun. Yeah.
All right, so thank you very much
My
for
pleasure.
the interview, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the con.
Thank you very much. You too.
This is Ishida Zazil with Brentalfloss from ConBravo 2016.